This is Tomonews for Wednesday, April 19th.
San Bernardino incident is the deadliest mass shooting in the U.S. since Sandy Hook. Hours after a mass shooting ended the lives of more than a dozen people in California, authorities still do not know what prompted the two gunmen to carry out such a grisly crime. Suspect Syed Farouk was seen by colleagues angrily leaving a Christmas party at the Inland Regional Center in San Bernardino on Wednesday, before returning shortly after with a woman, Tashfeen Malik, both of them in full assault gear. The two opened fire around 11 a.m., killing 14 and injuring 17, before fleeing in a black SUV. Police searched for the suspects in a manhunt that went on for hours before following a tip that led them to a residence in the Redlands. A black SUV with Utah license plates was spotted in the area, passing the police car slowly at first before speeding off, prompting officers to give chase. Malik reportedly drove while Farouk fired from the vehicle. The resulting gun battle with police led to both suspects being killed and an officer being wounded. Authorities processing the scene at the Inland Regional Center found and destroyed 3 devices believed to be pipe bomb-type explosives. Police have also taken a third person into custody, though it is unsure if he was involved in the shooting.
Like this video. Daily Beast goes back and forth with the wrong picture of shooter. Gunmen stormed into a social services center on Wednesday and opened fire, killing at least 14 people and injuring at least 17, which set off an intense manhunt that ended with a gunfight and the death of a male and female suspect. Authorities initially said the male suspect was named Syed Farouk, but did not release a middle name. Before photos had been released of the male suspect, the Daily Beast jumped onto Facebook and found the picture of a man named Syed Raheel Farouk in San Bernardino and attached it to their story, claiming that he was the male shooter. Then they changed their picture to a stock photo of police officers standing by an SUV, only to change it back to the original photo they had up after a Wednesday night press conference where a man named Farhan Khan, who said he was a brother-in-law of the shooter, said he'd known the suspect for much of his life and saw him a week ago. The Daily Beast also added a photo from Facebook that showed a photo of Farhan Khan and Syed Raheel Farouk. The only problem is the male suspect was actually named Syed Rizwan Farouk. The Daily Beast has since changed their photo back to the stock photo of the police officers. The lesson here? Doing an image search on Google probably isn't the best way to verify the identity of a shooter.
San Bernardino gunman clashed with Jewish colleague before shooting. San Bernardino gunman Syed Rizwan Farouk got into a heated argument with a Jewish coworker about religion 2 weeks before the mass shooting that left 14 people dead on Wednesday. Farouk was fighting with Nicholas Thalasinos, with whom he regularly discussed politics and religion. Farouk told Thalasinos Islam was a peaceful religion and said Americans did not understand it. Thalasinos was a Messianic Jew and passionate about pro-Israel causes. His wife says he did in fact have a lot of anti-Muslim sentiment and regularly ranted against Islam on Facebook. Among his posts, there is one that shows a man jumping from the Twin Towers on 9/11. On Tuesday evening, he apparently responded to a Muslim living in Ukraine who was railing against Israel and Jews with this comment. And on Wednesday, right before he was killed in the shooting, he was back online, posting a negative comment about President Obama. It is not known if the attack was linked to the argument, but when Farouk left the Christmas gathering at the Social Services Center, he was reportedly in an angered state.
Man hospitalized in root vegetable dildo disaster. A 55-year-old Costa Rican man underwent extensive surgery after realizing the giant cassava root he'd carved into the shape of a penis and forced into his anus wasn't coming out. The man, mercifully unnamed in media reports, had whittled the root into a crude facsimile of an astonishing 18-inch long, 3-inch broad penis. He then rolled 2 condoms onto his creation and began to rock and roll. But his one-man party did not go as planned. The coarse surface of the cassava schlong ruptured the rubbers, and its fibers grabbed his rectal wall. We can only imagine the panic that shot through Dildo Man's mind when he realized trying to jerk it free could kill him. Doctors spent more than an hour removing the root and then reconstructing the man's ravaged anus and part of his intestines. Mario Fernandez, a renowned sexologist in Costa Rica, said it's not uncommon for people to pleasure themselves with food items such as vegetables and roots, which is good to know.
Girl who fought sex attacker with pepper spray faces charges. A 17-year-old girl who fought off a sex attacker with pepper spray has been told she will face charges by Danish police. The unnamed girl from the town of Sonderborg on Denmark's southern coast reported by an English-speaking man near an asylum seeker center. The man forced her to the ground and tried to undress her. She hit back with pepper spray and fended him off. Police told the girl pepper spray is illegal to possess and she will likely face a 500 kroner fine, about $75. The news comes amid tensions in the town, with women complaining of harassment by male refugees at the asylum center. One Sonderborg nightclub has even adopted the policy of only admitting clubbers who speak Danish, German, or English. The man who allegedly attacked the girl remains at large, and it is unknown whether he is an asylum seeker or resident of the center. Outrage greeted the news on social media with thousands of posters saying the girl was acting in self-defense, and some offering to pay her fine. Ex-Oklahoma City cop found guilty of sexually assaulting 13 women. An Oklahoma City jury found an ex-police officer guilty on 18 counts of sexual battery, rape, and other offenses against over a dozen victims, all black women. In 2013, Daniel Holtzclaw was a 27-year-old Oklahoma City police officer working the 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. patrol shift. Prosecutors said Holtzclaw would stop African-American women, then search police databases for any outstanding warrants or criminal history he could use to coerce sex. Police arrested Holtzclaw on June 18, 2014, a day after he assaulted a woman with no criminal history who immediately reported the assault. GPS evidence from Holtzclaw's patrol car placed him near each of the sexual assaults, and for all but one of the victims, he accessed police databases, which is automatically recorded. 13 African-American women accused Holtzclaw of having committed sexual battery or rape against them in the 7 months up to June 2014. The Oklahoma City jury, which was all white, deliberated for 45 hours before finding Holtzclaw guilty on 18 out of 36 counts of sexual battery, rape, and other crimes. Holtzclaw will appear in court again on January 21st for sentencing. He faces up to life in prison.
Employees at a Swedish office complex use microchips implanted in their hands to access doors and copy machines. Hundreds of people working at a Swedish tech business incubator can choose to inject a radio frequency identification microchip into their hand. The microchip provides quicker and more reliable employee authentication at Stockholm's epicenter office complex. The chip is contained within a tiny capsule about the size of a grain of sand. Inside the capsule is a copper antenna coil, a capacitor, the microchip, and a glass casing. The capsule is inserted into the layer of skin between the thumb and index fingers. When the chip is scanned, it transmits a unique binary number that acts as a password. Employees can use the chip to operate the building's front door and their own office space. Employees can also activate the building's copy machines by scanning their microchip. Eventually, employees may be able to pay for food in the office cafeteria, as well as access their private computers with the implanted microchip.